What's up, my friends? I pray you guys are blessed, that you're standing strong in your faith. I appreciate you guys taking the time once again to watch another video. As one of the things that we want to talk about in this video today is, are parents considered to be terrorists? Yes. This is how nuts and crazy, you guys, things are if you think about it. That if you have a child, I want you to stop and think about this. If you have a child right now in a public school, and let's say you've even participated in a school board once or twice in the past, or even currently because of the wokeness policies that they're implementing in the school system without your permission, or forcing critical race theory down your children's throat, and they're indoctrinating them with these false ideologies, or because of the mask mandate, maybe because of the mask mandate, maybe that has drawn your attention to go out there and to fight for the rights of some parents and teachers and your child in general. That, you guys, is an important defense that you have a fundamental right to participate in, is to go and defend your case or to push back against the school system that is trying to encroach. Okay, this is not just a matter of something taking place that you don't appreciate about or that you weren't informed about. This is, you guys, also, and mainly, I should say, about the government encroaching upon your position as a parent. They're pushing you out, and they are trying to take over the life of your children. And so I want you guys to understand that. This is not hyperbole. I'm not blowing things out of proportion. I'm stating facts, you guys. And so right now, as COVID continues and these mask mandates, I think what it's done is it's stirred in a lot of parents to start recognizing, wait a second. I mean, government here. Whoa, there is no, and you guys, let's understand. They're encroaching. They are forcing things down your throat, and you guys, enough is enough. But the problem is, and this is what they do, they make it sound like if you push back, you're a terrorist. If you go against type of policies that they're being taught, they say that you're a terrorist. They are equating it to Al Qaeda, not Antifa. Not other violent groups, you guys. They are saying if you go against the policies of the school, and if you want to push back on the mask mandate, that can be hate speech, hate crime. And what they're trying to do, you guys, and this is what's so amazing, okay? I mean, think about this. According to the Attorney General himself, he's classifying parents like you who are fighting these policies, whether it be the mask mandate or woke policies or critical race theory stuff. He's saying, in effect, through the National Security Division, is that that's harassment. It's viewed as intimidation, and not only that, but even threats of violence against school board members. And so teachers and workers that are in the nation's public school system, if you go against them, that could be considered a violent act. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, though, is up to this point is, yeah, have some parents been arrested? Of course. Maybe you're watching this and you're one of them. Or you had your one little 30-second speech or 1-minute speech and you went against the school board and you proved to them, along with the rest of the people you came with or that are in support of your position, we, the parents, have a right to tell the school and our local district what they can and cannot do, okay, as taxpayers, but more importantly, as the protectors and guardians of our kids. And I'm going to give you guys 3 truths to back that up so you keep fighting for your children so that they're not indoctrinated. But now we have the DOJ, you guys, who are being weaponized because the National School Boards Association, they are asking the Biden administration, they're asking for them to step in there and start using the Patriot Act and other federal laws to weaponize the DOJ and the FBI because they're considering you, who goes against critical race theory, who goes against woke policies, who goes against the mask mandates, as almost a terrorist. And they're calling that domestic terrorism. Think about that, you guys. No, this is totalitarianism, and parents cannot stand for this. They have to keep fighting, but what they do with intimidation tactics is they start putting threats out there themselves. Or they say, if you're arrested at a school board meeting, that could become a federal offense. You could do time. So it's not just that you're going to be fined or humiliated, right, and taken to a police car and your wife has to come pick you up or something. No, they're saying this could be a federal offense. And this is what the Biden administration is fighting for, you guys. But the question is, what type of violence has occurred? Who's been murdered? What cars of school board members have been blown up, or buildings or schools have been blown up because a bunch of parents gets all ticked off and they're burning, masks in front of the school board meeting? None of this is happening. No one's been kidnapped. No one's been threatened. But they don't say anything about Antifa or any other groups that go around there burning down cities. This, you guys, is beyond ridiculous. But what I want to do is I want to tell you guys about an individual you probably never heard of. His name is G.W.F. Hegel. He lived from 1770 to 1831. Now, you might be wondering, Jay, why are you going way back to the secular philosopher? What does he have to do with what we're dealing with today with woke policies, critical race theory, and the mass mandates? Well, a lot more than you think. Because what we're seeing, you guys, and this goes back to a lot of these philosophers, like think about Karl Marx, think about Friedrich Nietzsche. Do you think that they still have influence today with the philosophies they taught several hundred years ago? Absolutely they do. And so Hegel fed into what Robert Owens and John Dewey did in the educational system that we're living through in the Prussian model today. Now, I'm going to do a different video kind of breaking down secular education and how that's affecting our children, has been for quite some time. But I want you guys to be aware that Hegel back then, and you're seeing this in the Biden administration with our Attorney General Garland and with the National Teachers Association, how they're implementing this type of policy because they believe, you guys, that they have the ultimate say when it comes to your children. Because Hegel argued for a synthetic and ethical approach to education. In his book, Philosophy of the Right, that was written in 1820, 1821, Hegel argued, catch this, you guys, for a totalitarian state to control people in a way that would enhance their quality and ethical life. So this is supposed to be a good thing. However, he says, in order for us to advance this type of system in our educational system to our children, that is, we need parents, we need to force parents to send their kids to this public setting. So we need to populate more school systems, and we need to have a rank and file and start dividing them up in different age groups. And we'll teach them certain things. But to do this, we need to force the parents to send their kids to these public educational institutions, if you will. And there he says they need to be vaccinated. Isn't that interesting? Now, what he meant by that was that whatever they're being taught at home, think about this, you guys, you're a Christian family. You teach your kids the Word of God. We're not in school. So you guys keep this in mind. The school system, the more time they have with your kid, number one, the more money they get from the federal government. Now, by the way, in the Constitution, the federal government has several enumerated powers. Did you realize that education is not mentioned once? It is not an enumerated power given to the federal government. But yet, look at the control the federal government has over education. Keep that in mind. But the longer they have your kid, the more money they get from the federal government, but also the more time they have to what? To indoctrinate your child. That was what Hegel meant by vaccinated. So it's within these rights and duty of this controlled society that Hegel writes, that you see implemented in time now in America through a lot of left-wing fanatics in the school system. So when in those rights and duties that the public education system has, or in this controlled society, is to superintend and also influence the shaping of the soul through education. You guys, that's why this matters. And that's why you have to put a stop to it, and you have to keep fighting. Of course, not violently, but within reason. Because it is paramount for parents to use their influence that God has given them to shape their children, not the educational system doing that. They have it, you guys, that's a one-sided position. So as a reminder, I wanted to show you guys real quickly that there is a website out there. And this website here, let me get out of this thing. This website right here, notice something. This is from the United States Supreme Court. And there are 5 different rulings, and one in particular I wanted to bring your attention here is right here that happened in Oregon. Notice what it says. The child is not the mere creature of the state. It's kind of sound like it here in America. That the child belongs to the government. And it says right here in the state of Oregon, by forcing parents to place their children in public school, unreasonable interfered with the liberty of the parents and the guardians to direct the upbringing of their children under their control. Another one that I wanted to bring to your attention, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So they want to try to use the Patriot Act to go after you parents who are going up against superintendents and school board members who've been elected, by the way. I think more people like you guys watching need to run and overturn these people. But you guys, there was a federal law back in the 1970s that was passed, affirming parents' privacy rights, protecting the right of parents to access all information about their children from the school. So if this is not just about mass mandates, but about wokeness and about critical race theory and other things, even about sexual orientation, gender identity, teaching them inappropriate things about sexual things, you have every right as a parent, you guys, to fight these things. And so that draws I want to draw your attention to the 3 points that I wanted you to know before I close out this video. Number one, you as a Christian parent, as any parent for that matter, because we are under the order and model and design of God, parents, we have a biblical mandate to not only protect our children physically, but also spiritually, to raise them in the instruction and training of the Lord. Deuteronomy 6, Psalm 73, Ephesians 6, Titus 2, on and on, you guys. We are the primary discipler. So the positional order here is what the government's trying to do is they're trying to encroach, you guys. They're trying to get you to be subservient. They're trying to get you to be secondary, and they're trying to overturn your rights as a parent because they want to be the primary influencers, just like Hegel said. And that, again, that's Hegelian educational philosophy. Look it up. They want to become paramount, and they want to superintend, and they want to influence because they want to shape, they want to indoctrinate your kids. And we see every totalitarian state, that's what they did in the educational system. So remember your fundamental rights. When you go back to this website and you know your Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, you have a right to defend your case, not just in front of the school board, but you can have, through due process, you can have representation. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Continue to fight and do it in peace. Obviously, the vast majority of us want to be heard, want to protect our children from these messed up policies. And the last thing I want to say this to you guys is about this. When you look at the educational system, this is all being fed under a naturalistic point of view. It's a one-sided educational regime that is indoctrinating our kids to reject religion, to reject biblical creation, and to focus on naturalism. But the funny thing is, the irony of this whole thing is, when you go back to Julian Huxley and other leading evolutionary biologists who have taught stuff in their school systems, this is what they're saying. And it undermines actually what they teach when it comes to wokeness and critical race theory. But I'll maybe deal with that later in another video. But listen to what Huxley has to say in closing. He says, it is essential for evolution to become the central core of any educational system because it is evolution in the broad sense that links inorganic nature with life and the stars with earth and matter with mind and animals with man. So that was the goal of a naturalist, you guys, was ultimately we want your kids not in essence just to teach them wokeness and critical race theory, but they're able to do that now because it's all about teaching them evolution. So you guys, mass mandates aside, wokeness stuff aside, what do you know? What, not just books, if you will, or subject matters like science and math and civics and things like that. Set those aside. But what is actually being taught to your kids? How much do you really know? And how can you defend your faith against the public school system? So you guys continue to remember your biblical mandate, your positional order, and your fundamental rights, and God will use you. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, keep standing strong, my friends.